Miss Singlified here, answering guys' dating questions from a girl's perspective. I am wearing a scarf indoors, not because I'm hiding hickeys. Gosh, I miss those days. It's actually because I'm getting these weird rashes on my neck. I think it's because of the pollution here in Beijing. I'm protecting you from what's happening underneath here. It's not that bad. It's not like I have rabies. It's just not pleasant. So if you've been paying attention, you know that I'm kind of doing some dating research studies here in Beijing. And another thing that I find interesting here is that the male role is so defined here. And his role is to be the provider, the protector, the caregiver. And I have girlfriends who've dated local Chinese men who will literally put cash in their wallets if they think they're running low on cash. But what's happening now with China's growing economy and with westernization and with the internet, girls' demands are much higher. So to actually have a girlfriend is extremely expensive in China. So there's a label for a lot of single men here in China called 屌丝, which is not a pretty word by any means. You know, it kind of translates to loser, but it really doesn't mean that. It really just means middle-class men who aren't rich and can't afford girlfriends. Positive that comes out of this is that the barrier to entry is so much higher that when men do get into relationships here in China, they mean it. You know, they're fully committed, they're invested, they are in it. So guys don't casually date here. That's not a thing. As opposed to when I think about in the US, the barrier to entry is so low. You can casually date for the rest of your life, really, and you don't ever need to commit. So I think we take dating for granted sometimes, is that we look at it so casually. This conversation actually is kind of related to the question I got today from Freddie. He says, you know how they say when you know, you just know? Is that true? I've been casually dating for years now and have no urge to settle down with one girl. Will I ever be ready? When do guys usually feel the need to settle down? From my observations, I've seen that when three things happen simultaneously, the guy becomes ready to settle down. 1, his single friends are dwindling. All of a sudden, your Facebook newsfeed is full of babies or weddings or engagements, and then you start realizing that your crew is getting smaller and smaller because guys are coupling off. 2, when you're at a good point in your career. Guys in the society are defined by what they do. So when a guy is kind of unstable in his career or not at a good place at his current job, that's when he's not ready to settle down with a girl because he's not fully happy with where he is in his life. But when you guys get to a really good point in your career, maybe you get that promotion that you've been working really hard to get, or you make that career change that you've been wanting to do, that's when you start thinking, okay, that part of my life is satisfied. Now I got to think about the more personal satisfaction side. Number 3, which is related to number 2, is financial stability. And I don't mean just salary. It could mean properties that you own or some really good investments you've made. When you become personally satisfied with the financial assets you have in your life, that's when a light bulb goes off in your head and you think, maybe now I could provide for a family potentially. Freddie, I'm going to guess that the reason why you haven't been ready to settle down is that 1 or 2 or none of these things have happened to you. Let's review the 3 things again. 1 is your single friends are dwindling. 2 is you get to a really good point in your career. And 3 is you become financially stable. There you go. You've been singlified. And when do women become ready to settle down, you ask? I'd say right around the time when our eggs start dying. Yeah, that would be the time.